Hey guys, how was it going? Welcome in. I'm super excited to be doing this masterclass tonight. It was a gorgeous day here, 30 degrees, and so I was outside the whole day. Had a pool party in the backyard for all the kids and a few moms that I know, and just came inside to quickly shoot this. So if you guys aren't on live tonight, I fully understand because it is a gorgeous night out there. So let me just jump right into it. I want to talk to you tonight about reducing toxins. So we're going to talk a little bit about what toxins are, why we even care, what they actually do in our bodies, and then some easy ways to reduce that toxic load from our everyday lives, basically. So of course, as always, if you are joining me live, please say hello. And if you're catching the replay, just please drop replay. I'd love to know you were here. And if you have any questions, of course, drop them in. And if I don't catch it when we're doing it live, and if you're just asking them on the replay, I'll come back and look at the questions later. So I'm happy to answer anything. And I made some notes just so I kind of stick to a little bit of a script tonight because I tend to ramble on and on, as you guys know. So first of all, what are toxins? I think a lot of us are hearing so much about that kind of stuff these days, but what are they actually, right? So it's basically anything, any substance that causes stress in the body. That would be what a toxin could be defined as. So obviously we can put emotional stress on ourselves and mental pressure and stress, and I mean, things are happening to us in our lives all the time externally that we can't really control, and a lot of that causes stress in our bodies. And so you could broaden the topic about toxins to say like toxic people, toxic relationships, toxic environments, and emotional and mental stuff. But a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight is like physical, tangible toxins that we're actually ingesting. So anything that is going into our bodies generally will happen three ways. So that is through our lungs, through the air we breathe, through our skin, which is actually our largest organ because the surface of our skin absorbs so much. So anything that actually goes onto our skin goes into our bodies, if you didn't know that. And then of course, anything that we eat or drink goes in through the digestive tract. So those are the three main places where toxins kind of come into our bodies. Obviously, with the air we breathe, when we're commuting or when we're out and about, or, you know, depending on the city that you live in, that kind of thing, like you can't really control the air necessarily, but you can control a lot of the air that's in your actual house, which is a substantial amount of time you spend there because it's while you sleep as well. You're breathing in all night. So we're going to get into a few things of where toxins are hiding. And then of course, like what we eat and drink, I think that's probably the most common thing that we all know about. Like, you know, you want to try to eat clean, more whole foods type stuff, more organic, less processed, just because a lot of them have chemical additives, artificial flavors, colors, sweeteners, all that kind of stuff. Those are the kinds of things that go into our body that we can control when we eat and drink really quite easily. And then of course what we put onto our skin. Most of us never thought in a million years about what type of, you know, shampoo and conditioner that we're using, or what kind of body cream we're using, or face cream and makeup, any of that stuff, and how it actually goes in and gets absorbed into our bloodstream. So basically a toxic load, just to give you guys kind of the overview, is the volume of toxic substances that has accumulated over time in the body and the overall burden that it puts on the system and your vital organs. So essentially what that means is over time, so when we're kids, we all just assume that kids are invincible and that they can handle anything. And a lot of us, I mean, if you're starting to pay attention to the types of foods that kids are fed often at every birthday party, at every event, even a community event, at school, all these different places, a lot of the time at home, they're just being fed a lot of stuff that's not real food, and it's not actually being able to be processed properly by the body. But they don't notice it necessarily as much when they're kids because, you know, they haven't had that toxic buildup yet. Although that is actually changing a lot because even with pregnancy, you know, we learned so much more about the stuff that we're eating as moms. So I'm 34 weeks pregnant right now, and I'll tell you, the internet got a hold of the fact that I'm pregnant again, and it has been sending me all kinds of information. You know how they can just like listen to your conversations and then send you exactly what you were talking about earlier that day or something? Anyways, that's a different story. But essentially we're learning that in pregnancy, what you're eating as a mom is actually transferring through to your baby as well. And they're finding that there's like over 200 chemicals, synthetic toxic chemicals that are actually found in a baby's bloodstream when they're first born, if you test for it. And that's like on average in North America. That's not like some random stat from some other place. So that just means that all the things that we're using on a daily basis that we don't even think about is actually affecting even a baby that hasn't even been born and come out into the world and put a single thing in its mouth yet. So it's really important to understand that over time, the toxic substances actually accumulate in our bodies, and then we start to see some symptoms. So I want to give you some examples of common signs that you have a level of toxicity in your body. So it could be anything from fatigue or brain fog, memory problems. You feel like you're getting enough sleep, but you never feel rested. Being really sensitive to smells. So like when you walk into, I don't know, Bath and Body Works and you start sneezing, that's one of my biggest things actually. The synthetic fragrances will really start to affect you a lot. What else? Weight loss. Oh, that's the $1 million thing. If everyone could just figure out how to lose some weight, right? And how many times have you said, well, I used to be able to eat anything and now I can't because I'm just putting on all this weight. It just won't come off. And it's like, well, if you start to understand the fact that your body actually as a survival mechanism actually grabs onto toxins like a bubble wrap with a fat adipose tissue, fat cell around it, then you start to understand that that your body actually will burn through muscle before it will release those toxins back into your bloodstream, because that's what happens when you're over exercising or you're cutting calories and things like that, is that you're not actually giving your body a chance to get rid of those toxins. So it is actually in survival mode to try to keep those encompassed with a fat cell to be able to protect you, because otherwise it will recirculate and go to your vital organs. And so obviously your body is naturally going to try to survive. So that's just one example of another, thing that shows your sign of toxicity. It can be like that stubborn weight that you just can't quite lose. If you go and start flushing out toxins, that's going to release that weight, and that's a sustainable weight loss thing as well, which I can do a totally different video on just weight loss if you guys are interested in that, no problem. So what else? Constipation is a huge one. So a lot of I think women especially suffer from constipation, and so whether that's like a every second day or every third day type of thing, or let's just get really real here, like possibly plugging toilets, like we've all had those conversations with people. And so what happens is the toxins build up so much in your body that your digestive tract just kind of slows down, because it doesn't want to, it doesn't like to absorb the toxins into through the cell membranes and stuff like that in your digestive tract. So it actually slows everything down because it is overrun with toxins. And so, honey, I'm doing a live video. You gotta come back. Rat. What? Well, you guys are gonna get a visitor. I'm doing a live video. No, you can't have that. Go talk to Dad, please. Sorry guys. I don't know why kids always will literally walk right past their dads, go all the way up the stairs to ask their mom a question instead of just asking their dads that are standing right beside them. Anyways, first world problems over here. Okay, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, constipation. So basically when your body has too many toxins, your whole system will kind of slow itself down, again, as like a survival mechanism, because it doesn't want to absorb the things that are coming into it, and so it literally makes everything move like a slug. Hey Crystal, I hope you guys are having nice weather out there too. It's 30 here today. Okay, I'm sweating. Oh my gosh, our air conditioning is not working very well these days. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? Oh, obviously skin issues. One of the biggest things that people find with things like eczema, psoriasis, all these, all these types of skin problems that we have seen for a long, long time that were always explained by, oh, that's just the way it is, sorry. And we've always tried to treat a lot of them topically. There's so many people out there now that have success stories that are saying, hey, I flushed a whole bunch of toxins out and detoxed my body and all these skin problems cleared up or were way better. So there has to be a correlation between skin issues and toxicity in your body as well. And then muscle aches and pains. So a lot of the time you'll hear people that are very arthritic, like they get a lot of inflammation in their joints. My dad is one of them. Basically, if you go in and pull out all the heavy metals and toxins out of your body, it makes like a ginormous difference for arthritis. So I'll give you my dad as an example. So he had a hip replacement when he was young, and he also has bad knees, and he was at the point where he could barely walk and his back was getting really bad, and he actually went for chelation therapy through a naturopath, which literally is like an IV that they run into you for like an hour or something, and it goes in and it pulls out all the toxins, like all the heavy toxic metals out of your system in this substance, whatever this chelation stuff is. I don't pretend to know all the science behind it, but I get the gist. So it goes in, and I think he went for 3 or 4 different sessions over like a certain amount of time, and it pulled all those heavy toxins out, and he didn't have arthritis for over 6 years afterwards. And now it's slowly coming back because he obviously eats things and drinks things and puts things on his skin and whatever, so that toxicity builds back up over time, right? But the thing is that when you see somebody like that who actually doesn't really believe in, what would I say about my dad? My dad is a meat and potatoes guy. He believes that bacon is the best thing till the end, and that's totally cool because, you know, he grew up in a time where there just wasn't this much crap that's added to everything. But he doesn't believe that a shampoo could ever affect him. He doesn't believe that, I don't even know how he got into chelation. My mom just convinced him, I guess. But yeah, he had no arthritis for over 6 years, and he's in his 80s now, so he's obviously building back up those toxins, and now his pain is coming back. But if he goes and does it again, it'll probably free him from those muscle and joint pains. So long story short, that's another example of how toxicity building up in the body actually inflames your joints and causes pain. Crystal, if you have any questions, I said at the beginning, just like start dropping them in there and I'll come and answer them. I think there's a little bit of a delay between us, but yeah, feel free to drop them in. Okay, so next thing. Okay, we talked about how they get in: lungs, digestive tract, skin, and of course emotional things too, and environment stuff. What else do I want to talk about? I'm just trying to stay on track so I don't drag on and on and on. Hey Allison, how's it going? Holy, you must be hot today too. I was out there all day. Okay, so where are toxins found? So we covered what they are, like how they get into our bodies, and now where they're found. So they're pretty much in everything, right? They're even in the water that we drink a lot of the time. So if you think about when you smell water out of the tap and it smells like chlorine, there's chlorine in it, which is not really like something that you want to be putting into your body if you think about it. So easy ways to fix stuff like that is to get a filtration system on your water or to use a Brita. Now, most of us have often heard that, like, if you buy bottled water, you don't leave it out in the sun because the sunlight actually can leach the plastic toxic chemicals into the water and things like that. So there's like all these different things, but I'm just trying to explain that like toxins can be found everywhere. So it's not that we're never going to be exposed to them, it's that we're going to try to shift to a place where we're controlling the easy stuff that we can easily switch out, so that that stuff's not coming into our body on a regular basis. So it's in water, it's in the air we breathe, it's in food, it's in drinks, it's in any kind of personal care product. It's also in laundry detergent and dish soap and dishwasher soap and all these different places that we never think. And most companies will say, yeah, there's those toxic chemicals in there, but they're in safe levels. But what they're not taking into account is the fact that we're exposed to over 50 of those safe levels per day, which is why we start to build up toxicity in our bodies. Because have you guys ever heard of the bathtub analogy when it comes to toxins? So just like the really quick version of it is, you have the bathtub that's being filled up by the faucet, right? And then you have the drain at the bottom. And if the water's coming in at the same rate that the drain can drain out, then you have what's called like health, right? You have vitality, or whatever you want to call it. It's balance. So the system is working. So your organs of elimination are getting rid of toxins at the same rate that they're coming in, essentially is what it is. But over time, we have too many toxins coming in or too much water coming in for the drain to handle it. So then the water starts to rise, right? And sometimes we get a clogged drain, which is our organs of elimination being overrun with too much stuff to try to handle all at once. So they're working overdrive, but slowly but surely that drain is getting more and more clogged, and so then the level of the bathtub rises. And so that's why, again, when you're kids, you don't generally see issues until you maybe hit your 30s. That's pretty typical. It's actually happening earlier with like anxiety, depression, all these different things that are starting to show up on people so much sooner. But essentially that bathtub fills up and eventually overflows into your body, and that's when you start to see these symptoms, these signs, and that's the body crying out for help, saying like, hey, I need a little help here. I can't handle all this stuff. You need to do something. Otherwise, eventually over time, you have chronic inflammation in your body, which leads to disease, which is dis-ease in the body instead of ease. Anyways, I'm such a nerd. Okay, so what do I want to talk about? Okay, so they're in pretty much everything. So that's the bathtub analogy of how they kind of come in and how we can't get rid of them fast enough. So what are the ways that we can reduce exposure? So we minimize our exposure to the potentially harmful chemicals on a daily basis through clean, whole foods eating. I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward for eating healthy or eating well in general. Like, we want to try to get organic. We want to try to get things that haven't been handled or processed too many times, because through each process there's usually something added to the process that either takes away nutrients, which you need to help the body, to help all the systems do their job, or they're adding some sort of chemical or toxin to the mix, and it ends up going into our body. So clean whole foods, which is just in general a great thing to take up. Allison, I know you're totally on that kick these days. And then detoxing with a dietary cleanse regularly. So now this doesn't have to be like an extreme version of like a juice cleanse or a whatever kind of cleanse for 7 days or 21 days. This can literally be lemon water every single morning, lemon in your water, or apple cider vinegar. You can take, there's lots of different supplements, which I can talk about at the end, but there's lots of different supplements that you can take that go in and literally boost your body's natural ability to detox or to release toxins. But you want to make sure when you're thinking about detoxing that you want to do it in a gentle, gradual, regular type occurrence, instead of something that's just like a shock to the system, because generally shocks to your body are not good one way or the other. So you want to make sure that you're incorporating things, healthy habits, so that that stuff is happening for you, right? Another easy one would be to replace your household cleaners with natural cleaners. So when you go to the grocery store and you see something that says nature's clean, that's not necessarily toxin free. So you want non-toxic cleaners. So there's a big difference between the two, and you have to do a little bit more reading about it if you're interested. But I also have some natural solutions, which I could talk about at the end as well, for cleaning stuff. So now if you think about it, like, why would we actually care about our cleaning products? Well, because there's residues left everywhere, and while we're cleaning, there's stuff that's released into the air that we're breathing in our own homes. So even your laundry detergent, think about that. There's a lot of synthetic fragrance and toxic chemicals that are added into those, especially to make things smell like a fresh spring breeze air for 14 days. That's like, if you think about how nature actually does things, and you hang your sheets outside in a beautiful sunny breezy day, like, there's no chance that they're gonna smell like that 14 days later. So those are literally just chemicals that are put in. They don't keep it clean and fresh. They're literally putting chemicals into your house for 14 days in a row, every single time you wash your clothes. And you think about it, you and your kids and everybody in your house is literally sleeping, rubbing on your skin and breathing in those synthetic chemicals every single night, all night while you sleep. So a lot of people will have like asthma or things like that. They are more hypersensitive to it, so they can tell a lot easier, but it doesn't matter. We are all sensitive to chemicals. We can't handle it, and those are easy places to be able to switch out your stuff. Crystal, I don't know if you're still on, but have you switched out your detergent, like your laundry detergent and your cleaning stuff? I know I switched mine, I don't know, a couple years ago, and I've tried a couple different ones, and listen, natural products are not just like a one-size-fits-all, in my opinion. I think you have to kiss a few frogs to find your prince, generally, which goes kind of in general for health with me. That's how I explain things to people, because you're not always going to find the thing that's the best possible thing for everyone, right? We all have different smells that we're attracted to, or the different ways we like to clean, or different, you know, whatever. There's just different, it's okay to not just like one specific thing that your friend likes or whatever, but kiss a few princes. And just know that when you're trying to change your lifestyle and you're trying to change to healthier habits, these are the things that you can change out that are the easiest, but it's okay if it takes you a bit of time to like transition into all that stuff. It doesn't always have to be, you know, right overnight. It can be, but most people like to do it you know, in intervals. So you start with where you are and you think about where you want to go, and then slowly but surely, like I couldn't get rid of bounce sheets for the longest time. But then we had Rylan, and he would react every time. His skin, if you had anything that had been dried in bounce, like with a bounce sheet in the dryer, he would automatically, his skin would react to it. So it's like, oh no, now I'm forced to do this, right? So I tried the hypoallergenic stuff, but then I realized that those are just, it still has toxic chemicals in it. So eventually I moved to dryer balls, and now I put essential oils on a dryer ball and throw it in there. But that doesn't happen overnight for everybody. Like it was a progress for me, and I fought against it for a long time. But now I don't even have static cling. So it takes a while, and then you get used to it, and then you're fine. So another thing that's really easy to do would be to switch out your skin care, your body care, your hair care, so your shampoo, conditioner, body wash, you know, your facial cleanser, your creams, your body cream, anything like that. You don't really think about it, but think about the shower. You're in hot water, you're steaming, your pores open up, and that's when you're putting a whole bunch of chemicals into your hair that's running down your back all the way down your body. It actually really does make a difference in your toxic levels. Now, not in one day, right? But like over the course of a year, say you've had 300, well, I shower every day, so let's call it 365 showers. 365 exposures to something does make a difference in the long term. So the thing about natural solutions and things that are short term, we kind of think like, oh, well, what's the difference if I'm using Head and Shoulders or if I'm using some natural shampoo? And it's like, well, it doesn't make a difference in one day. But over time, think about how many less chemicals you're exposed to, and just think about the burden that that doesn't then put on your liver that's trying desperately to deal with other toxins that you're eating through, you know, your binge weekend with the girls when you crushed a bunch of Doritos and a bunch of wine, right? Like, you got to pick your toxins, is what I'm saying. Okay, so, but another thing that's really something we never think about, and also things that I understand when people want to do them one step at a time and phase through and kiss a few frogs to find your prince and stuff. Toothpaste, natural toothpaste, and deodorant. I mean, I used antiperspirant, secret antiperspirant for ever, like 20 years or something, and I still have this thing in my head where it's like strong enough for a man, made for a woman, and this is the best, you know, the best that we can get. But like, I know different, and yet it still took me years to come around to trying different natural deodorants until I finally found one that I actually like. But it's hard switching from those types of things. But then you hear about a bunch of people that have cancer and stuff, and you're like, yeah, that's not really worth it to me. So toothpaste, deodorant, start thinking those little things where the toxic chemicals can be hiding. So some other things are, where are synthetic fragrances and chemicals hiding in your house other than those things? So if you've Scotch guarded your furniture, for example, or your carpets, often those are going to have, they release toxins slowly into the air constantly for years and years and years. There's like a toxic leakage thing, something. And we think, oh, great, we won't have stains on our carpet or our couches, but then we have toxic chemicals that we breathe in and our kids breathe in, and we're laying on, and we're, you know, your bare feet are always walking on your carpet. So if there's a bunch of crap in your carpet, then you're actually absorbing it, because there's so many nerve endings in the bottom of your foot, and the pores are quite large. So that's actually one of the best places to absorb something in your whole body. Crazy, right? But then other things would be like candles, air fresheners, bathroom sprays, things like that, that you could easily swap out for things that are non-toxic. Hey, Amber. But we don't think about them because we're like, oh, I just love the smell. Hand soap is another great example. We've all gone, you use vinegar and lavender for cleaning. Nice. I use On Guard and lemon with water, and I often use vinegar as well. But I haven't done lavender. Well, that smells good. I love that though. Okay, so what am I talking about? Oh, candles, hand washes. So everybody loves to go to Bed Bath & Beyond, which is, I mean, that we've all been there. We've all gotten the deal. We've all come home with the nice little bag full of soaps that smell so good. But at the end of the day, they don't actually smell like the real thing, because they're not made from, obviously, like they're chemicals that are made, synthetic fragrances. And so when you think about how many times in your day that you'll wash your hands, and you think about how many times in a year that you'll do that, think about how many times you could do yourself the favor and have a non-toxic hand wash that nobody would know the difference. You can still get ones that smell great. And how many times do your kids do that? And half the time they're eating it and they're getting it everywhere, and it's just like, oh, that's a pretty easy place to switch out toxins, so that you don't have to worry about what you're eating at a birthday party or whatever. So it's like always we're dealing with trade-offs all the time, right? And then another thing would be, okay, so we talked about how to avoid kind of the harmful chemicals, but like the second part to that would be to reduce toxins and toxic buildup that's already in the body, which we talked a little bit about with cleansing and detoxing. And we want to do that on a gentle, gradual basis. We want to do that with products that are not shocking your system. And it's so important to really gently release that stuff so that you stop having signs of toxicity. And the weight. Literally, most people that start to do any kind of cleansing or detoxing, they'll notice that a lot of the weight, especially that they carry around the middle, the donut, starts to the donut kind of deflates. And it's because that's where the majority of the fat cells are hiding those toxins, because they're surrounding the essential organs, the vital organs. Anyways, okay, so hopefully that was helpful. So we covered what toxins are, why we care, what they show up as, how we avoid them, how we can reduce them. And I guess the biggest thing that I wanted to say is just the fact that when we make those easy, simple changes of the things that we're doing, even just in our own household, it makes a huge difference for the way our bodies can go out and take on the world. Because we don't control the air we breathe most of the time. We do want to eat junk food sometimes. We do want to drink wine or whatever sometimes. We do want to not worry about it when we go to somebody else's house and eat, you know, a store-bought processed cake, or we go to the birthday parties, or we're crushing Doritos, sweet chili heat. That happens to be my favorite. And don't even get me started about a bag of Oreos right now. I'm pregnancy problems here. But anyways, but the thing is that the majority of the time, I have moved to like a super healthy, clean eating type diet, and I've removed most of the toxins out of our entire household. So even in your sunscreens that you use, I mean, there's so many different products that we use on a regular basis that we just don't give any thought to about toxins. But slowly but surely over time, you can make those changes and shifts and then watch what your body does. It's just so different. I have to just click here to see this comment. You make your own foaming hand soap. Dr. Bronner's organic liquid soaps, baby mild and lemon and lavender essential oils. Awesome. Can you post that in the group after this live or sometime in the next couple days? I love that. Just like how you mix it, where you get the Bronner's, because I've never even heard of that before. That's awesome. Yeah, there's so many tips and tricks. So a lot of us just want to be able to buy products and put them in. But some people love to do it themselves, and that's totally fine, and you can do it either way. If you're the kind of person that doesn't want to take the time to do it yourself, then there's obviously really good, solid options for you to just buy that stuff that's non-toxic. If you love to do it yourself, then man, share away in our group. I love that stuff. The other thing, Crystal, have you ever made your own, oh, you got it at Amazon, okay. Have you ever made your own dishwasher soap, like tabs? Because that's one thing that I have not been able to find a natural, not yet anyways, but I'm kissing a lot of frogs, but I haven't been able to find dishwasher soap that I like, how it comes out clean on my dishes. But if you guys think about it, how many times have we washed dishes where in the morning we put it in the cupboard and we grab it and there is always some sort of residue left from those harsh detergents, right? So it's just it's food for thought. So I think my comments are delayed. I don't know if you have an answer for that one, but anyways, let me know if you do for the dishwasher. So basically, I just wanted to cover off like how to reduce toxins and the fact that what it does is it gives your body the break it needs to do the things that it is supposed to do, which is to keep you healthy, which is to regenerate cells, which is to literally build you in the best version of you. And that's how we are able to go out in the world and show up as ourselves when we're well rested, when we're lowering our stress levels. And I'm talking stress levels in the body, which affect hormones and all these other systems. They're all connected. We're such a complex being, but it can run on its own, but it's like a little city, right? Our whole body is made up of all these different workers, and we have to be able to take care of the different pieces so that our bodies can function properly and all those little workers can go to work properly. Hey Cheryl, welcome in. Maybe you have an answer for this. We were just talking about dishwasher. Have you made your own dishwasher detergent, like the little tabs or anything like that? Cheryl's an expert. She I think you're an aromatherapist or almost an aromatherapist now, which is pretty awesome. We went to high school together and elementary, but you're a year older than me. Just saying. The comments are delayed, so I'm just gonna wait for a second. Anyways, so for any of you guys watching who are interested in switching over to natural solutions for your cleaners or some of your detoxing, if you're, I mean, weight loss is like a touchy subject, I mean, but at the end of the day, we need to start cleaning out your body so that you can let go of those fat cells, because it's not just about cutting calories or over exercising. So let me know though if you guys want to know more about that, because I can do a separate video. I love talking about that stuff. It's kind of cool when you put it all together. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, I have a lot of solutions for you guys if you want help with any of this stuff, but I want you to know that you need to start where you are, and I'm happy to help you just like figure out what your plan is for where you want to start. And sometimes that can be like, oh no, I'm all in, I want to switch this stuff, like I understand how important this is. And for other people, it's like, yeah, I want to do one small chunk at a time, and then over time it still adds up. I love that stuff. Health really doesn't have to be hard. It needs to just be easy transitions over time that add up, right? So hopefully you guys found that helpful. I'm like sweating in here. And I hope you guys all enjoyed this beautiful day today. It was so nice here. If you guys don't have any other questions, I can't see the comments haven't caught up or something, but I hope you guys all have a great night. And once again, if you have any questions for me, just reach out to me and I'm happy to hop on a call with you and start talking about where you're at with your health, what you'd like to do, whether it's toxin related or something else, and we'll fire up a plan for you to know how to start, basically. So guys, enjoy your night and take care. Cheers.